Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new day of Road to TCG Worlds 2018. Now, Daytona Regionals just took place. This is a pre-recorded video, so I have no idea what happened and who won or how I did. I definitely played Turbo Turtles though. Today is Friday, I am recording this before the event, and I'm pretty certain I'm playing Turbo Turtles just because it seems like a very solid deck. It will most likely do the same thing over and over across 15 rounds of Swiss, or 14 rather. And yeah, that's why I chose the deck. Hopefully I did okay and got some championship points to bring back to Mexico. But for now, we're gonna review Standard. This week will be Standard because this weekend is Vancouver Regionals and it is Standard format. So we did have Hartford Regionals, the first Standard Regionals in North America. We can analyze those results, and Samchen got 4th place with Gardevoir-Sylveon. I got 12th place with Gardevoir-Sylveon. Our lists were simply one card different, and I still think mine is just a little bit better just because you don't need to run as hot, because pricing Brigette is definitely an issue, if you do, it's harder to set up your Gardevoirs, and therefore playing to Brigette makes a lot of sense to me. So Gardevoir-GX, of course, a really great attacker, the world champion, 230 HP. Secret Spring, once you're in your turn, before you attack, you may attach a Fairy Energy card from your hand to one of your Pokemon. Infinite Force deals 30 damage for every energy on Gardevoir and the opposing Pokemon, so great synergy there. And then we have Twilight GX, which shuffles 10 cards from our discard pile into the deck, which, now that there's no more Via Seeker, is actually an okay way to try and search for Guzmas and things like that, or recycle Guzmas, not search for them. Then we have Gallade as an alternate attacker. It gives you a fighting type, which is really good. Ability Premonition allows you to look at the top 5 cards from your deck and put them back on your deck on any order. So really good way to make sure you're drawing the right things. And then Sensitive Blade deals a lot of damage for a single DC up to 130 if you've used a supporter. We have a 1/1 Octillery line for support. We have the triple Lele for support as well, and we have a 2/2 line of Sylveon. So instead of running a Alolan Vulpix, instead of running Diancie, we are running the 2/2 Sylveon-GX line. 200 HP, Magical Ribbon allows you to search for any 3 cards you want and puts them into your hand. Then Fairy Wind deals 110 for a very good Fairy plus DC cost. And then you get access to Fleet GX, which returns 2 Pokemon on your opponent's bench to their hand. So this GX attack is really good, and it's definitely better against anything that's not named Garbodor. Fairy Wind also gives you a very fast way to be aggressive instead of needing Rare Candy, Gardevoir, and if the opponent's Pokemon doesn't have any energy, you're even dealing less damage than Sylveon. So opens up gives you extra consistency through Magical Ribbon, and anytime your opponent does end those cards away, it's one less end you will have to deal with in the later stages of the game. And then Fairy Wind gives you an aggressive option. So overall, a really nice addition to the deck. Then for supporter cards, we have 4 Sycamore 3N and 4 Sycamore 4N and 2 Brigette, 3 Guzma, and a single Acerola, which I think is the most suspect card in the deck. It was good, but it never did anything really amazing. So I don't know. That's the one card that I could maybe see myself cutting in the future for perhaps a second Float Stone or even a second Remoraid, because Octillery was one of the most valuable players from the tournament. And then we have 4 Rare Candy and Full Control, of course, for consistency. We have 2 Field Blower and 2 Choice Bands, and a single Super Rod along with the Parallel City. Parallel City was also a really good card in the tournament. Really awesome tech, and when combined with Fleet GX, it deals a lot of damage to your opponent's presence on the field. Even if you're not doing actual damage, you do get to remove a lot of Pokemon, and if you combine that with a Guzma or an N, then it becomes really deadly. And If you guys were watching the Hartford stream, I actually did that exact move in in round 4 of day 1 against Jimmy Pendarvis, and then we might have seen Sam Chin pull it off again in one of his games, not entirely sure, but yeah. Really great deck. We round out with 4 double colorless and 8 basic fairy energy, which are probably the bare minimum you can run in this deck. And now let's jump into the standard ladder and see if we can get our win streak going here. Immediately we're up against a metal deck, so on paper this seems like a really bad matchup, almost an auto loss, but we're gonna try our best to make sure, or to showcase how, thanks to Sylveon, thanks to Parallel City, thanks to Gallade, this is actually not the case. However, our start definitely does not help us too much. Thankfully we do have access to Sylveon, which should help in setting up, so even though we have this really bad hand, I will probably go for the turn 1 Brigette still, as long as there's nothing crazy like 2 Sylveon price. And there we see a Beldum and an Oracle. So we top deck a Sycamore, which is actually very nice. We do have the full Octillery, we do have the full Sylveon, we have the full Gardevoir line, we have 1 Tapu Lele priced, we have 2 Ultra Low priced, we have 2 Fairy Energy priced, and therefore we have 1 N price as well. So quite full prices for sure, especially the Ultra Ball and the 2 Fairy Energy. But that won't stop us here. I'm only going Ralts Eevee Remoraid. And then the question becomes, do I Sycamore next turn or do I not? Depends a lot on what I top deck. The odds of me top decking an Ultra Ball, however, are very low at this point. Top decking the single Float Stone are also pretty low. But yeah, the 2 Field Blowers being dead cards here are not really great. But hey, our opponent makes the decision for us, he just immediately ends, so no turn 1 Brigette for him, which is good news for us. And okay, so we have the DCE. My opponent goes for the Core Beam onto the Ralts, and we get an Octillery top deck. So we can retreat on Magical Ribbon, we can Parallel City. I think the Parallel City, losing the DC, do I want the second Sylveon setup? I think I do, because of the fact that the first one will probably go down and play will be really important. I guess I'll draw a card, perhaps it's a supporter card, nope, it's actually a Gardevoir, Tapu Lele. So we're going to Magical Ribbon here, we're gonna get Gardevoir and Gallade, because I have the 2 Rare Candy in my hand, and then I'm going to go for an N here. Don't want to get rid of the Parallel City, definitely, nor the Sylveon and the Tapu Lele. Well, the Sylveon I wouldn't have to get rid of. Actually, perhaps Sycamore is better. DC would be making certain, but I can't just not draw more cards next turn. So I'm gonna grab the Sycamore, and we have a pretty good setup for next turn. My opponent already used 1 N. Does he have another one? That's a big question here. See an energy immediately onto a Beldum. My opponent evolves into the Metang, so getting the DC would have been preferred, but there's the other N. So natural lens for my opponent, and we do see that he apparently has a full rarity deck, but the hand we drew off of N is arguably just as good as the one we had before the N, after the Magical Ribbon. So my opponent will lose on the tank here. If he only benches 1 Beldum, then there's no chance of a return knockout. Unless he found a choice band here. Unless he found a choice band, and then he could 2-hit KO the Sylveon, but not with Metagross, which is the key here. Then we see the Beldum, and there we see a Ram, which is pretty much irrelevant. So yeah, pretty good start for us. 40 HP. I mean, it doesn't technically matter, but I'm just gonna evolve to a clean Gardevoir. I'm definitely gonna attach here. I'm definitely going to Secret Spring onto the Gardevoir. I don't know why it makes you choose a Fairy Energy when there's literally no difference. I'm gonna Abyssal Hand here before playing the Ultra. I don't want to get rid of more energy. And Choice Band is actually very useful. So, Plea obviously doesn't make sense here. Plea would be a waste. I kind of wanted to Ultra Ball for a Kirlia. However, I think I'm just gonna Fairy Wind because I do want to discard the Field Blower, but I don't want to discard any other card in my hand. So that's why I'm not playing the Choice Band because most Metagross decks are running at least 3, if not 4 Field Blowers, so attaching the Choice Band would have been terrible and would have probably made it so that it just immediately gets discarded. And I might need that to pull off a crucial one-hit KO on the Beldum. Now we finally see that Brigette. By my opponent, he finds 2 other Beldums and nothing else. And then we see a Heavy Ball, which could potentially find a Metagross, but no, it's actually Metang. Looks like my opponent is desperate for draw. He's gonna instruct for 1. And then we are in a pretty good position. We just need to find 1 more energy to knock out this Metang with potentially Gardevoir. The odds of my opponent hitting double Rare Candy Metagross plus energy off of 2 cards the next turn are pretty low, I would say. Okay, so that Ultra Ball was cool. I'm gonna discard, that topic, the Field Blower and the Brigette. I'm gonna grab the Kirlia now. And thing is, I don't want to waste an energy retreating, so I would really like to take the knockout with the Gardevoir. I'm gonna use Secret Spring on Gardevoir itself, and then I'm gonna attach the Choice Band for now. Seems like we won't have to deal with too many Metagross this game. And then I'm gonna... I did not get an energy. So now I have to retreat my Gardevoir if I want to take a knockout this turn and lose both Fairy Energy. I think that was poorly done. Probably should have played the Guzma first, or maybe should have just placed the energy on the Kirlia, and that way, yeah. Oh well. I still have to Guzma off the attack though, because that's a real threat. No other way to draw card, so I'm gonna retreat. So yeah, that was poorly executed. That was very, yeah, that was very poor. All the prizes we get an energy, so that's pretty good, but setting ourselves behind 2 energy when we're in such a weird scenario is not ideal. However, if my opponent, there's a Field Blower I was talking about, if my opponent does end up using Rare Candy here, so we see a Guzma trying to draw extra cards. Rare Candy Metagross would be atrocious for us. However, we see a Rescue Stretcher, no Lele, my opponent's discard. He decides to shuffle back in, interestingly enough. Okay, so we do have a way to retreat, right? I would love to find the Float Stone, but odds of me finding the Float Stone are not great, so it looks like we're gonna have to rely on... We're gonna have to rely on retreating and then using the Super Rod to get back the energy that we are currently losing. I'm gonna Ultra Ball away the Sycamore and the Lele. I'm gonna grab Another Gardevoir, and yep, there we go. So my opponent's deck's inconsistencies showing. He definitely didn't have a really great start to be able to compete with our Gardevoir deck. And let's search for another match, see how we do. Let's see how we do. Okay. So we do get to win the coin flip, and I do believe we're up against Pika-Bulu, which is another really good matchup for Gardevoir, I think. As long as you set up, and I did have a really close match against Pika-Bulu on day 2 of Hartford, because my opponent was running a Tapu Lele-GX, which I was not expecting, and he was also running a what is it? He was running. Wow, this is an okay hand. He was also running our Professor Kukui, so Tapu Lele was actually able to get a knockout on my Gardevoir-GX without the need of spreading with Tapu Lele beforehand. So that was pretty crucial. Now looks like we're gonna end up losing one Gardevoir-GX. Let's check out our prices, right? So one Guzma priced. One Kirlia priced, one Guzma, one Kirlia, one Rare Candy, one DCE, and what else? That's only 4 cards. Guzma, Kirlia, Guzma, Kirlia, Rare Candy, Super Rod, DCE, and one other card that I'm actually not sure what it is. What other single card do we run that's not Float Stone? Generally don't know. I'm gonna grab 2 Ralts and Remoraid here. We already have the Eevee up front. And I'm gonna pass here. No chance of drawing extra cards. Not finding the fairy energies, not a big deal. It's really not. And there we see the Brigette by our opponent. So looks like we're both gonna be able to get set up. I can actually choose not to discard the Gardevoir because I can lay for end here. It doesn't give me great odds of hitting the fairy energy, or I can just top deck the Rare Candy. Incredibly luckily. Okay, so Mew and Tapu Lele. So no Tapu Lele promo inside. Based on my top deck, I'm actually gonna just set up a Kirlia. Now I'm gonna set up Octillery. I've lost so many games where I just chose not to go for Octillery early on. Now I will use Sycamore before Octillery because I was probably going to draw. Yeah, imagine if I had drawn off of Octillery 2 Ralts and 2 Gardevoir. That probably would have made it so that I shouldn't be attaching energy, or losing energy rather. I would really like to find a Kirlia here though. So I'm gonna discard a Ralts and a Gardevoir, which seems strange, but we don't even have the bench space for another Gardevoir, and Gallade is actually pretty okay in this match, just because it can one-hit KO Pika-Bolt without it having any energy, which is something Gardevoir cannot do. And then, wow, our Sycamore was actually pretty great. We even get to a Abyssal Hand for extra cards, which are all energy, which I am perfectly okay with. And now we already have the Gardevoir. Gonna search for a Rare Candy. I generally think I already have everything I could possibly want here. I mean, the Parallel is the only thing that I think I would maybe need, or a choice band. Well, okay, let's think about this for a second. Best case scenario, my opponent attaches a choice band, Rare Candy Pika-Bolt, and knocks out the Sylveon, right? If he does that, gets the knockout, I will need 6 total energy, so 2 Gardevoirs plus a DC. Okay, so I'm gonna actually change this. I'm gonna get Choice Band, Float Stone, and their Rare Candy. Oops. Oof, that was close. So that makes it so that Tapu Lele is going down no matter what. Best case scenario for my opponent is getting the knockout on the Sylveon, and therefore my Float Stone would be kind of wasted, but the Heavy Ball actually just goes into Charge Above, which is pretty okay. And there we see a Sycamore, so wow, discarding to Guzma, that's pretty devastating for my opponent, and also a big ult in the process. The two Guzmas are going to be key, very, very key. But yeah, I can assure you guys 100% right now that we are going to win this match, 100%. Even though it's still 6-6, I did plan in order to get this knockout. We have two Gardevoirs already in play. Now I have enough energy to get a knockout right there. I'm gonna Secret Spring onto this other Gardevoir for now. And I get to retreat, I get to take a knockout. My opponent actually made it so by touching an energy, and then we get to Abyssal Hand for an extra 3 cards. And we even get the Gallade for whenever we need to knock out the big ult. So we also get, we haven't even used a supporter this turn, guys. Gonna Premonition. Top decking the Parallel City seems pretty fine, and if I really need to, I'll leave the Field Blower. And then all the other supporters, I already have a copy in my hand, and they're all better than Sycamore. So yeah, now we get to take a knockout here through Infinite Force. And even if my opponent decided to attack with a Mew, that would be perfectly fine, I think. We have Guzma to deal with, to remove the other Tapu Lele. We have Gardevoir with 2 energy as a very easy response to that Mew, a lot easier than dealing with Tapu Lele-GX. So yeah, because I have Octillery, I generally think there's no way my opponent makes a comeback. I generally don't think there's a way for my opponent to make a comeback here. We'll see. But I really doubt it. We see a Skyla. So no Professor Kukui, which is great. And there we see an Ultra Ball, discarding Switch, and Skyla. Oh wow, there's a huge buzz coming into my streets. That's the sound you're hearing, guys. There's a huge buzz doing reverse, entering the street. Okay, so what did my opponent Ultra Volt for? He Ultra Volts for Pika Volt, and my opponent apparently pretty sad, heartbroken, triple double. And perhaps the other 2 Pika Volts surprised. There we see a Clefairy, so maybe he had some secret tech. Clefairy with, he evolves. Oh, is he really going to sing me to sleep? Yes, he is. Okay, fair enough. I do wake up. So I am actually going to choose to take out or take a knockout on this Clefairy. Or, okay, this is what I'm going to do actually. I'm going to Parallel City my opponent. If he chooses to discard the Grubbin, then I can Guzma up the Charge Above and then make sure Pika never hits the field. If he chooses to discard the Mew, that's pretty smart. I can still knock out the Tapu Lele. However, because he did that, I'm not even gonna do anything. I'm gonna just Premonition once again. I'll leave the Guzma because that seems like the best card there after the Field Blower, just in case I need to do something regarding the Field Blower. And I'm gonna take a knockout here in the Clefairy just because I don't want to deal with the randomness that the sleep condition brings. It's very annoying to deal with. It might give our opponent a 50% chance at coming back into the game, so really did not want to do that. There we see a Lele, so probably going for an N. But yeah, I guess. Oh, I really don't know. Wow, my opponent goes for Brigette, so I guess he's going to Sycamore. Yep, I'm making the deck thinner. Very good. Very good sequencing by my opponent. And what does he find here? Does he really have to be gold priced? He might. He might have to be gold priced. There was an ultra roll, so I guess we'll find out right now. I guess we shall find out. Now, I was holding the Fairy Energy in my hand just because that guarantees a knockout on that Queen. Tapu Lele and no Pikachu grab from the Ultra Ball. That means my opponent does not have another Pikachu in his deck. So I'm going to go ahead and Secret Spring here onto the Gardevoir. I'm gonna Field Blower just to get it out of my deck in case I do get end. And I'm going to end here. Now I have 2 Guzmas in my hand. That's enough to secure the games here. So yeah, we see how I mean, the games were not very good, right? The games were not very good in the sense that our opponents didn't really put up a fight against us. However, you can see the advantages of having Sylveon, having a double Brigette, which we didn't have any price in these 2 games, but you price one, you still have the other one, so I really like the consistency of this deck. If Vancouver was tomorrow, I would definitely play this once again. No fear of the Metagross deck, especially because Volcanion won, so there's a certain risk at choosing to use Metagross. I would definitely not advise it, but yeah, pretty awesome game, pretty awesome tournament. That was Hartford, and hopefully you guys enjoy seeing the deck to its best of its ability and setting up very consistently. That's the aim of the deck, especially when you're playing such big tournaments such as regionals. The more times you set up, the better, because Gardevoir, once you get going, I mean, if there's nothing blocking your abilities, the odds of you winning are very, very high. So, thank you guys so much. Don't forget to leave a like on the video if you can, and I will see you guys tomorrow for some more standard action. Goodbye.